Hey everyone, welcome into my greenhouse. Today we're going to take a look at 3 different seed starting mixes. We're going to talk about 3 different key points of seed starting mix. We're going to look at the difference in price. We're going to look at the difference in quality of each of the seed mixes, and then we're going to test the germination of all 3 of the mixes. And then after we do that, we're going to talk a little bit about if a good seed starting mix is really important. So stay tuned. So first we're going to start with this Jiffy Natural and Organic Seed Starting Mix. It is 12 quarts and I purchased this at Walmart for just under $6. I think it was like $5.96. So let's open it and take a look. So the first thing that I notice is that it is very light and airy looking, and there aren't a lot of chunky pieces in it, but let's get some put down on a piece of white paper so we can really look at it. And see what we can see. For the most part it is. There are little pieces, if you can see this, a little stick, and I did find a pretty good sized chunky twig. And this is all stuff that I prefer not to have in my seed starting mix, only because it does, when the roots are really tiny and they're stretching out in the soil, when they hit something like that, it can impede them from growth, but those pieces aren't really that big where it would make much of a difference. And there isn't really a whole lot else in here. It looks pretty good. It's very light and fluffy. So let's move on to the next one. So next we're going to take a look at the Wilco Professional Seed Starting Mix. It says it's all natural and organic. It is 1 cubic foot, and I purchased it at our local Wilco farm store for $10 on sale. Regular price was about $12.96. So let's open this one and take a look. So this one I can tell either has a lot of vermiculite or perlite or a combination of both. We'll look on the back and see if I can tell. But this one, let's dump it out. Take a look at a little bit of it. Let's get down closer here and take a look. And this has just a very, very tiny little fragment. And other than that, unlike the other one, I'm not finding, at least in what I just pulled out, any twigs, any pieces of branch or twigs like in the previous one. I take that back. I did find a tiny one there. You can see that. But this one, I don't know if it's because it's moister, but it doesn't feel as light and airy, but it still is very light and airy. I'm thinking the other one might be just on the drier side. So let's take a look at our third one. So the third and final seed starting mix I want to take a look at is a Pro Mix. It is a compressed pack or a compressed bale. It is also 1 cubic foot, and it says it is ideal for seed starting, vegetables and herbs, flowers, containers, pots, or in ground. I actually use this one quite a bit. To be honest, I already know that it has quite a bit of twigs and pieces in it, and I have to sift it, but I do use it for more than seed starting. So let's open this one and I'll show you what it looks like. So I will grab a chunk of this compressed bale. Let's break some of it up down here. And as you can see, I'll start pulling some of these out here. Of course, a couple little scoops isn't going to show you what I find all of the time. But very consistently throughout the mix, I find pieces like this, which are on the larger side. And when I do sift them out, I get a lot of product left over. And I will show you what that looks like. Okay, so when I sift out all of the large pieces when I am focusing on seed starting mix with the Pro Mix bale, this is what I'm left with. And it's very, sometimes coarse, just chunks of peat moss, which is what I believe they use in that. They're sticks, twigs, and it does pull out some of the big pieces of perlite, but I don't like to have pieces that big in there. But you can see the sizes, you know, compared to my hand. They're pretty large, but what I do is I put all this in a bag and I save it, and I will use it in an outdoor mix, or if I'm making a new raised bed, I'll just incorporate this in there and it'll break down and turn into soil eventually. So nothing goes to waste. So to get an idea of what is made up into these soil starting mixes, first we're going to take a look at the Jiffy, and on the back they do not list the ingredients. Instead, they have a website that says information regarding the contents and levels of metals in the product. You can visit this website. Well, I did go on to that website, and it has nothing about the contents, and it only has 3 states listed, Oregon being one of them, that they have registered information with, and I couldn't find anything. It kind of led down a dead hole. So I can't really tell you what is in the Jiffy mix, but I can tell you that it is the lightest and fluffiest. The next is the Wilco Professional Seed Starting Mix, and it clearly states on the back that it's a blend of cocoa coir, peat moss, fine perlite, and limestone. That one, the pieces of perlite were the largest, but they weren't that bad. And then the last one is the Pro Mix, and down here they clearly list their ingredients as sphagnum peat moss, cocoa coir, perlite, and ground limestone, as well as some wetting agent. So basic ingredients for seed starting mixes. I was pretty disappointed that Jiffy just didn't take the time to list what theirs was, but you all can do your own research if you are interested in that. One side note is I did also look at the Miracle Grow seed starting mix, but I choose not to do the Miracle Grow simply for the fact that all of the 3 that I had already chosen were listed as an organic seed starting mix, and I kind of wanted to stay with that theme, and there wasn't any available in the Miracle Grow. Now that we've taken a look at the 3 different types of seed starting mixes, how they look, how they feel, what they're made of, now we are going to put it to the test. And I have this 4-pack seed pot that actually is part of a seed tray. And if you're interested in knowing more about these and the way that I store my seeds, you can look down in the description. I have a link to a video that I've done on that. But what we're going to do is I'm going to fill each one of these little 4-packs, one with the Jiffy, one with the Farm Store Wilco brand potting mix, and one with the Pro Mix. We're going to see if there's any difference in the germination rates or how quickly they grow in that medium, and then we'll take a look at that. All right, so the first one that we're going to work on today is going to be the Jiffy potting mix. So let's take some of the Jiffy potting mix. I'm going to fill up my little tray here. Get that all wiped off, and I've got the 4 there from the Jiffy. And what I'm going to do is I have little plant labels that look like this. I get these sometimes from the Greenhouse Mega Store, and other times I get them off of Amazon, so I will try and link both of those down in the description below if you're interested in those. So this first one, we're going to mark Jiffy. So I just have Jiffy written on there, and I will stick that in that one. So the next one we're going to do is going to be the Wilco Seed Starter Mix. So I will get my new little 4-pack here. We'll come on over here. Scoop some of it up in there. Give it a little pat. And now we have this one. Set you back down for a second. I will get a label made for this one. So we have the Wilco, and I will stick that in there. And the last one we're going to do, this Pro Mix. And again, this is a compressed 1 cubic foot bale, so you do have to kind of loosen it up with your fingers when you open it to break it all apart. And now normally I do like to sift out the bigger pieces that I was showing you earlier out of the seed starting mix. That's a pretty big twig there. But for the sake of this experiment, and there's another one, I'm just going to leave it natural. So we'll put this over here. I will get a tag made for this one that's marked Pro Mix, and I will put that there. And then I decided for this experiment we are going to use some sunflower seeds. These are a variety called Pro Cut Horizon. They are from Sunflower Selections. If you are interested in looking at their website, they have some really pretty sunflowers. These are ones that I use in cut flower bouquets because the Pro Cut series is designed to where you plant them closer together out in the field. and then they tend to make one beautiful main bloom. And after you cut that off, you actually will get some side blooms, but they're just have really short stems. So they're basically just made for the one. But what we're going to do is we're going to put one seed in each one of these, like so. Oops, that one has 2 in it, but that's okay. We're testing the dirt. And then I'm just going to take my fingers and press them down about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch. Not super far. And then I'll just shake the pot a little bit to get the dirt to go back over. You can also water and the dirt will cave in on itself. And then what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to pour some water into the tray. I'm going to let the dirt soak the water up so that it gets nice and moist. And then from that point, we're going to determine how many days it takes for them to germinate and see if there's any difference in which one germinates first. So stay tuned. Okay, we have all of our sunflowers nice and wet from soaking them in the water. Now we are going to go inside and put them on the germination mat. We now have the seedlings in the germination room. They are under grow lights with others, but as you can see, they are also on a heat mat. So I am going to cover these with some plastic like I have some of the other ones. And today is March the 2nd, and we will track how long they take to germinate and which ones emerge first. Okay, so it hasn't even been 3 full days yet, and when I came down this morning, I saw some green. So let's pull this back and take a look. So the seeds that are up the fastest and the highest so far is from the Pro Mix. Next, we'll come down here. This is the Jiffy Mix, and as you can see, there's one coming up right there and there. And then we do have one coming up in the Wilco potting mix, but so far just one, and that's why I planted 4 seeds in each, so we could kind of get a good idea. So there's 3 up in the Pro Mix, there's currently 2 up in the Jiffy Mix, and so far we have 1 up in the Wilco potting mix. Alright, so we are back down in our seed starting room, and it's been a few more days since the sunflowers popped up. We're going to take a peek and see what the results were. Okay, so first up over here is the Pro Mix. 3 of the 4 seeds germinated in that one. They are up the highest. Next is the Store Wilco potting mix. We also had 3 out of 4 seeds germinate in this one. They aren't up quite as high. And then the last one is the Jiffy Mix, and only 2 seeds came up, and it could just be the seed. It is a little on the older side, but if you can see the height of the seeds, that's the Jiffy. This is the Store brand, and this is the Pro Mix. And I would say overall the Pro Mix seems to be the best, even though it is more of a multi-purpose, not just strictly seed starting. But I'm most impressed with that, and that is what I use almost all the time. So first thing is a good seed starting mix really important? Well, yeah, it really is. And the reasons is you really want to start with a sterile seed starting mix so you don't have any pathogens or weed seeds or even fungus gnat larvae in there, and all those things can really prevent a good start for your seedlings. You also want one that's really light and airy and fluffy so that there's good drainage and really a soft medium for your roots to spread out in, because when they first come out, their roots can be really tiny, so that is really important. And then also you want one that doesn't hold a lot of water, so having like perlite in there, which is an aid for drainage, that's going to keep your soil from getting too damp, which can cause root rot, and it also can cause dampening off, which is where at the base of the stem where it meets the soil and that soil is too wet, it causes a fungal disease on there where the bottom of that stem will literally just bend over and die, and then you've lost your seedlings, and there really is no recovery after that point. Okay, so now we are going to do the price comparison on the 3 different brands, and the first up is the Jiffy Mix. This is 12 quarts, and they go by dry quarts, and at the time of this video I purchased it at Walmart for $5.97. That equals about 49 cents per quart. The Wilco Professional Seed Starting Mix is 1 cubic foot, and in that cubic foot there is 25.71 quarts. So if we break that down for the price, Everyday price is $14.99. I did mention that I got this on sale, but I used this regular price for the comparison. It is 58 cents per quart. And then the Pro Mix compressed pack bale down here, I purchased at Walmart for $18.87. And this one is 2 cubic feet per bale, and it is 37 cents per quart. So I have to say that I was really surprised overall that a local farm store brand was the most expensive. Next was the Jiffy Mix, and last was the Pro Mix. And I was really kind of surprised that the smaller bag of Jiffy Mix beat out the store brand, simply because usually when you buy things in a smaller package, they tend to cost more. So hopefully this little cost comparison helped you out. So I just got all involved in transplanting seedlings and forgot to end the video. Now, speaking of transplants, I did do a video on how to transplant seedlings. If you're interested in that, I'll put it in the description below. Otherwise, thanks for hanging out with me today. See you next time.